All right, looks like Clover Health is actually doing pretty good today. Um, I know this looks like a mess, but there's a method in the madness. Get to a simpler chart. I created this chart yesterday. Um, so there's a pretty good amount. Just a little 30% or more. Yeah, but there's a pretty good amount of support where we're currently at right here. Probably just compare it to, you know, the others. You got one that's around here, this one and that one. So this support would be greater than that resistance, but this resistance is greater than that support, which is like this support is greater than that one. So the way I could see this playing, and this is that 180 range right there. It's pretty much like there's no volume. It literally went from here to there quick in a jiffy, right? So this is what I'm looking at. I was thinking that maybe if we do break down in price, right, we could see something like that, and then that will actually be the bottom, and then we could form in a inverse head and shoulders. But it looks like that this right here might be the inverse head and shoulders. The neckline is going to be right here, I would say, at 325. So I drew this little area in right here that way. Gives me a bias on which side to do more into it. So I would consider this to be within the channel. If it just bounces around in here, that would be probably the resistance line, and this is probably going to be the support line. And then with this downward resistance and this upward support, which would be in this zone right here, which the average price would probably be $2.80 that we're currently sitting at now. But typically it likes to gravitate towards the dominant um, peaks. So if we continue to see this uh, slow move up, we should be able to get to $3.25 sooner or later. Now, after that, it could fluctuate in between two other areas. So I would consider that not being too important, but this one definitely being important there. And then that would change it to where this one's no longer there. This one gets extended out to here. Right? And this is going to be the center. This is going to be the bottom. And this will be the absolute low again. This would be the absolute top. So this is going to be the center zone right here to there. I would see it maybe something like this instead. If it does reach to there, depending on where it's at, right? Could see something like this instead in the future. A little bit more. So this kind of balance them out a little bit. Something like that, where this one's the dominant one. That could actually be support if I wanted to. I could pull it up and then say I'm gonna cut the pie evenly here. Something like that. Where if it breaks out, if it considers this to be support and it starts doing this action right here, then it'll slowly bleed up and test that $4 range. But this is all speculation, if depending on whatever happens. So I don't want to keep this chart right here. I want to keep semi clean. Just go ahead and clean some of this shit off. Mm-hmm. That's that, I believe. Shit. Yeah, something like that. Okay, don't have to be perfect, but would like it to be. You know how we've seen this overlap right here kind of run down into the moving averages on the sub chart, right? And then you've seen this. I'll call this like a shark wave. You got the whale bellies and you got the shark waves. Kind of peak out here, and then it tried to make another one where the RSI went above the Bollinger Band, kind of like how it did here, right? It did it here, but there wasn't too much power going behind it, and that's what you call a topping phase right here. But if we can see the inverse of that happen, what happened here, down here, whereas now it's rolling over to the positive side, how it rolled over to the negative side, then we could see something like where's it at? There we go. Could see something like if this was a bottoming zone, and this was a topping zone. We're going to keep this along with that, with the low part, right? Gonna try to get it in the middle here somewhere with that. And this one kind of sort of also with that. Which would mean, look how it's goes up during that and goes down during this. Surprising, huh? And then kind of picked up here. That could be just the like this bounce right here. It could be just like that. It could go sideways until it breaks out. But with this little algorithm I just threw up here, or the wave that I just threw up here, or the cycle that I just threw up here, right? It says that there's a good chance for it to start moving upwards. But we're not going to use that. All right. Now on this one here, seeing what I like to collect, the data that I like to collect or I like to utilize within this chart. Okay, so first thing, these orange parts right here is going to be change of control, as the point of control is changing positions, right? Let's see if we can get it to where, there it goes. The orange is the point of control within moving averages, right? So you can see the point of control as of right now on the daily chart. It's going to be like at I would say 270 because I want to go to the very bottom. Yeah, it's around 270. You can say 275 if you want though. And then over here on the weekly, it's that's the 10-day. Okay. And on the weekly over here, see the point of control, how it started off right here at like $3.50, and it went down to $3. Now it's down to $2.65 on the weekly. Well, I said $2.70, give or take 5 cents for margin of error. Um, so I believe this is going to be a significant area. Like I said, there's a head and shoulders pattern within here, right? So if we break the neckline, I'm going to call it $3 because of the last point of control, just because of this, right? Um, but the trading activity seems like it wants to fall down. So if volume starts to drop and price moves up, what does that mean? We're in indecision here. Another thing too that I find very interesting is that if we look at, I got this candlestick pattern underneath here, right? It determines points of where massive sell-offs is happening, right? It's like a heat map almost for candlesticks, like this one right here. Like it ran up hot right there. What was that? At $4.84. So it's telling me it's hot as hell right there, right? And then it's telling me down here that it's cold as hell, right? This candlestick was 280 was its low, right? And then you see this institutional boss signal pop up with this significant, um, downward momentum. Then you see another one right here at, let's see here, what time? At $2. The low was $2.12. So you got that one. I think this one was a little bit lower, no, 13 cents. So then it said there was a significant, and you had, the signal, institutional signal go off also. So here and here, saying there was significant points, even this one right here, and there's one at one point in time. Look at the weekly. You got one right here, which was at 71 cents. And you got one here, which was at 61 cents, but didn't get it here. And if you look at the chart, on the ones that didn't give like a percentage on how low it's gone. Um, this was continuation to the downside, and then it kind of fizzled into an extreme right here. And this one here just dropped dramatically. This one here dropped dramatically. Rose up dramatically, I guess. So, right there. This one didn't have it here. It did go under. So there should be a method to this numbers and the percentage rates and the amount. Like, gotta connect the dots here, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Point of control right here at is at 270 now. So if you go back according to this, and the point of control is at 270, which is right here, then that means that it's pretty much this area, which is a 260, and it's slowly bleeding up. So I wouldn't be surprised if it makes it to 320 before it moves down again. The question is, will it move further down than $3? Because if it does, then we're just probably going to be in this consolidating range bound. If it doesn't, then we might have a breakout. With all the short volume, the short selling that we have going on, I wouldn't be surprised if they do cover and we go up to around $4 to $5 before they decide to pull the shares and, you know, short the fucking stock again, right? And this one, I like this part. Um, there was a reason why I did, and it doesn't look like it's showing it anymore. Huh. All right, well, the obvious point would be knowing where all the excitement was and why it's calming down, right? And see, it went from this, depression like stage, this euphoria like stage, and then even though it was still price action was still euphoric, the indicator itself, right? You call it a momentum indicator, started whittling away, and then it really broke out of the. It's no longer green anymore. Started becoming neutral. So yeah, I like this one because it's more gives me a clearer picture than this one does. If I could get this one and this one, and kind of clean this one up a little bit and have it function with this one, it might be better than this one altogether. You can see the CBD, the volume right here. Need to work on that, try to get it more clearer. But this one pretty much does the same thing. This is just does it for a longer period of time. It's counting in everything, right? And this one right here is also one of my favorites. See here. I got it on 4 days, so it's kind of biased to the weekly, but not really. I could turn it to 3 days and let's see what it's like. I really don't like that. I need it to be more. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So it's basically like I got it on total volume, buy and sell volume, and delta volume. Damn, look at that delta volume, son of a bitch. See what happens. We turn it to 3 days instead. Whew. Notice that delta volume popped when it was considering the top right here. This delta volume popped where it looks like it's considering a bottom. But I don't want it on delta volume. Let's try this. Take another look at it. Yeah, we'll keep it on buy and sell volume instead. We're probably going to do the same thing with this one. I have it on 20 days. that in half. Because a week, it's 5 days, and I want to do the daily chart I did for. What's that times four? So that'd be a month on the weekly chart. A half a month, around 13 days. 15 days. Mm, 10 days, that's double. Just keep it on that for right now. Buy and sell volume. Yeah. See how it kind of splits the candlestick right there? Because it has to do within these zones, which you can't really see too well. Huh. Okay, let's change it up. 10 days. Let's put it back to 20 days. There you go. But 20 days is a little bit excessive, ain't it? 15 days. Shit. One month. Of course. Has to be way greater than itself. Then they get skinny and ugly like that, and I can't tell the difference. 10 days is going to have to work. And keep it on that. And that was volume delta. Yeah. Let's just do volume delta instead. Okay. Let's see what happens if we do volume delta over here. Might be interesting to watch. Okay. Another thing too. Points. It's going to be right here at $3.10 at what's that 113 mil. That'll be a demand zone. I mean supply zone. You got a demand zone here. It's pretty much tied into this one, so I would call this whole thing the same thing. Which is at $3.60 and so $2.60. Gonna round it to $2.70. No, round it to $2.80. The first line of resistance we're going to hit is probably going to be the 2.99, which is $3. And then right here, let's see what the there's a broader control on the supply than there is on the demand. Let's see. The way I'm looking at it, right, is if it does. Hold on, that's not a good way to do it. If it does something like this, right, as far as like supply is concerned, and then that would mean every area right here, right here, would be like areas of resistance, right? Up there, and so on, all the way up to here. So, if that's the case, and then we got how it stretches out so far, then we got something like this, right? Then this is definitely stronger than that because that's what it looks like to me. This looks like this, and then this looks like that. Which these little bars right here highlight in these zones, in these lines, where that is at, right? Like this one right here, where this, you know, is all where all of this volume is at, where all of this, supply. It's going to be right here in the zone, 310. But the stochastic says it's been pointing up since the wider the bands get, the more confluence goes in there. So I would say confluence hit probably Wednesday the 8th. But on the weekly, it hasn't even started yet. It's still in its downward position. But if you zoom in real closely, you can see it kind of buckled right here. The faster wave buckled. So there's a possibility it could be finding an area where it's going to turn over right here. I talked about psychoanalysis before, right? With that wave that I had in at that other chart. It's pretty much the same thing here. So that's all that. The smart money, dumb money concept. There's a lot of resistance right here in this zone. 30%, 21%. God damn. Son of a bitch. So this red one here, this one there, and then eventually it was an extension here, right? You could pretty much just tie them all into the weekly. I would say that's probably the best route. You got the center of it right here at $3.60. The bottom is going to be at 320, and the top is going to be at $4. So $4, 360. The whole damn $3 area is considered nothing but resistance. Break shows some kind of weakness in the resistance, it would have to make it at least above 350. Until then, it's just a battle uphill. Yeah, this says it doesn't really know. You got the stochastic pointing up. You got the percentages on these bottoming areas. The ones that didn't have one still reacted in an upward move. It's just the ones that did have one. It's probably more significant than the ones that didn't have one, right? So if you want to add in like a timing scenario, then that probably would be the way to do it. All right. Yeah, I'm probably going to do something with this. I'm going to try to make one clean chart. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Um, yeah, I guess that's about it.